a man as you treat everyone else that's not black.
That
across
sounds
this
like the
country.
answer to my pushback, right? That you and I, Dr. Saunders, talked about earlier. My whole question of how long, right? How long do we are we forced into this position of being second-class people or non-human even, right? Jessica says we're gonna keep marching, which also begs the question, Brother Washington, of whether or not, because we also as a community have to be honest about the fact that after Trayvon Martin, after a number of these things take place, we sizzle.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no sustained effort to maintain that kind of pressure that is necessary to bring
Right.
about that kind of systemic change Jessica talks about. And I think that the purpose for me of historically black colleges and universities are to develop that kind of leadership in young people so that they can be the next generation and wave of individuals that help to fight this fight. Would you agree with that? Or
I definitely agree with that, and we definitely, as HBCU graduates or alumni, we really need to come out and support our youth because they are not getting those skills. And I do reach out to the HBCU community simply because we have a lot of professionals that will not come out, and we just ask that they come out to give some of these kids the skills. So yes, definitely, they're much needed in the community to help these kids or help our youth.
We're going to take a small break, a very quick break, and then we'll be right back after a very quick break.
Mr. Saunders, thank you for your question.
One of the things that is something that we need to talk about, and I think Jessica Mann just brought it up, was the fact that out of a black populace that has 67.4 black percentage of persons that are in the community and 28.7 white persons in that community. And certainly we understand that it's not really black and white. There are shades of gray, right? So I'm not attempting to make this purely black and white, because what I've always said is that we have a black-skinned person on the Supreme Court that is as white as any white man that I've ever seen, right? So it's not just a matter of hue. But the other staggering statistic is out of that populace in Ferguson, only 12.3% of eligible voters did so. 12% of eligible voters voted, right? And so a part of what we've got to begin to deal with is what this sustained effort looks like from this point on. Because there's going to be a trial, hopefully. There's going to be an indictment, hopefully. And there's even some games being played with the grand jury right now that a lot of people don't know about. So hopefully there's an indictment, there's some things that take place. But after all of that's over, to your point, how do we begin to move forward? Here's something that I thought, and I want to get you guys' feedback on what you think about this. That number one, and I heard this from Dr. Barber in North Carolina, Reverend Dr. Barber in North Carolina. He said that the first thing we need to do is to make sure that the narrative of what's actually taking place is communicated accurately, right? Because what happened with the media was in Ferguson, everybody shifted to what was taking place with the looting, and everybody forgot that we had a dead 18-year-old that just got killed. So number one, we need to communicate the narrative clearly. Number two, there needed to be a unified long-term mass meeting plan so that we don't stop meeting, right? To your point, we develop these large meetings, we march, we protest, and then when it's over, we think it's over, but there's always a Ferguson boiling somewhere else that we need to deal with, right? Thirdly, we need to build political power, that somehow we need to vote, we need to put the right people in office, not just the people that look like us, but the people that are sensitive to the issues that are ours. And then lastly, we needed to, now this is something I struggle with when he said it, but I get it, right? We need a diversity of voices. And here's why. A diversity of voices means that there is an entirely different response to white suffering than there is to black suffering. So when you have a white person say this is a problem, it is different than Jessica saying this is a problem because the response to those voices are different responses. Anybody want to talk about these four things and whether or not you think they're, what do you think about them?
Well, I think in terms of making sure that there is a correct narrative. I think there's like an African proverb that says, as long as the hunter is the hunter, you know, the hunter will always be the hero. So I think one of the things that, you know, the black community needs to be concerned about is having a way of communicating, a paper, news, the radio. Because I think when you look at successful revolutions, one of the first things that happens is people take over the newspapers, you know, and the radio stations. I think the other thing we need to look at too are the areas where we've got control, and it doesn't cost money. And of course, I'm talking about family.
Wow.
I mean, what can families do to you know, address, you know, some of these issues? And it's free. Going to school meetings, going to the PTA meetings, you know, helping your youngsters with homework. If you think something is not going on right with your child, you know, in school, you know, going to the school and meeting, you know, and meeting with the teacher. The political action, not just voting. We now know voting is important, but in terms of the hierarchy of political action, voting is on the lowest rung. It's not only voting, but being involved, you know, in political committees.
And so
for example.
even and I think that's right. We also have to be responsible, right, Dr. Saunders, for creating candidates, right, and for passing the baton and crafting who's next.
And what we want, and excuse me, and what we want them to do for us.
Yes.
And Tavis Smiley.
So we're not specific.
Right. In a
We're not
series of
always
books.
specific. Yes.
I mean, he indicated, you know, like in Covenant for Black America, and I forget what the other title of the other book was actually.
Yes.
Something.
Covenant in Action.
Yeah. He delineated, listed. This is what we ought to be demanding from our candidates.
But that's a part, right, of what I just spoke about a
Yes.
moment ago, that there's no sustained effort. So we get in an uproar, and the uproar is necessary because there has to be a response. And I think that there is even a sense of being uncomfortable with black rage, right? In a way that they really should be comfortable with black rage when you're causing black rage, right? Nobody said kill an unarmed young man. And what are we supposed to do? Everybody sit quiet and not do anything about it, right? So to them, what they mean when they say we want peace can also mean we want you to be quiet. And for us, we have to be able to say, we'll give you peace, but if peace means be quiet, we can't give you that. You want to talk about that, Jay?
Yes, I want to just go back to off what she was saying. I think first the story needs to be told correctly, but that comes with the sense of community and home that she was speaking of. If we have in our communities things that we no longer want in our communities, like neighborhood watch and having town hall meetings and townhouse meetings, those things I think would help keep the narrative straight because you already have formed groups within your neighborhood that you trust. So then you expand off of those groups to get I guess I would say, I don't know, a community watch. I don't know what we have here in Wilmington, but some sort of organization that will stay on the media's back. No, this isn't what happened, so you're going to tell the story this way. No, we're not looting the store. This is not people in Wilmington who's breaking in these stores doing this. These are people from outside trying to take the focus away from what you did to try to tell another story. So once you have these organizations in place that's going to keep people in line and keep people in check, I think the story will remain where it should, and I think that's what should have happened in Ferguson. It should have been a little more, the people should have been organized, and the story would not have been taken away from an 18-year-old guy laying in the middle of the road for hours. Dead, and then, okay, now we're going to be looting, and why are we destroying the neighborhood? That's the storyline now. They're destroying the neighborhood, and no one's talking about this 18-year-old guy who laid in the middle of the road for 5 hours dead in the street.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you guys for coming. You have 30 seconds apiece to be able to give shameless plugs or whatever you would like to do, but then we've got to wrap up. Dr. Saunders?
Well, I think this discussion was very valuable. It's the kind of discussion that needs to continue in churches, in civic organizations, in homes. I'm with the National Association of Social Workers now. One of the things that we do is work with communities to help organize sustained change. Our telephone number is 302-288-0931. Please call, and we are willing, ready, and able to assist.
Thank you so much, Doc.
I think that as a community, we need to come together, and that's the churches and the colleges just to come together to build. There's no way on earth that August Quarterly should not be supported by every church in the city and or the state. If we come together in the churches and the colleges, we come together, we have power within our community. We should actually be marching just like the folk in Ferguson. Just because it's in Ferguson does not mean that we should not participate. So I think we should really dig deep in ourselves and find out who we are and just do something about what's going on. It'll make change.
Thank you so much.
And I would just like to invite everyone out. The Black Law Students Association at Drexel University in Philly will be continuing this discussion on October the 7th. Dr. Morton will be one of our panelists, and we will be talking about No Shots Fired, the militarization of police and excessive force across America. It will be a wonderful discussion, and we would like to see everyone out.
Thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of the discussion. Today we've heard from some of the best and the brightest experts, but what we haven't heard from all the time is you. All of us here that have become pundits of sorts, we're able to give our input, but you know what? Without the sustained actions of everyone that is watching this broadcast, nothing takes place. I'm calling to action everyone that is watching. Let's all together unite and do something not just about Ferguson, Missouri, but about Wilmington, Delaware. And I believe within us is the power to do so. Thank you for watching The Exchange, and thank you for exchanging conversation with us today. We'll see you next time. God bless you.
The Center for Business Growth is an incubation center. And as an incubation center, we have new and emerging businesses coming to the beautiful Claymont Community Center on the second floor, where we do nothing but grow businesses. I am a member of the National Professional Women's Association, and I'm also the only certified National Business Incubation Association member in Delaware. So I look forward to working with the clients. I look forward to growing the incubator. I look forward to having a fantastic and rewarding experience. As our clients today go and grow, we invite you to come into the center, grow your business, and go back into the community to develop the economy in New Castle County.
The reason why we decided to join the Center for Business Growth is because we felt as though some of the training and the networking and a host of other services they offer would allow us to grow to the next level and be able to provide jobs for Delawareans. And that's our ultimate goal, and that's what we're passionate about.
First State Weddings needed the Center for Business Growth. We needed help from A to Z. They provided business training, they helped us write a business plan, we increased our sales, we acquired insurance, we were assisting with technology and marketing.
In addition, each business will receive individual consultations and attend monthly group meetings. Educational and support services will be available from DFLY, its partners, and other local agencies.
The Center for Business Growth offered me a place where I can call my office. After working out of my home for many years, the center actually gave me a place, a phone, a computer, where I can now, have meetings with my clients rather than my dining room table. I think that was a big attribute for me, from the center, as well as networking, different classes on financial literacy, marketing, and all kinds of strategies that will help your business grow as well as mine.
To find out more about the Center for Business Growth, please log on to www.dfli.org or call 302-792-1200. Make your business grow today.
"75% of your users will visit your website after viewing your video. 80% of your online visitors will watch a video, while only 20% will actually read the content in its entirety, because video is the key.